Hello, in today's Timeless Pick a Card Tarot reading, we are looking at a skill or ability that you already have that you could be overlooking at this time, and we're going to look at why it's important to acknowledge this skill and use it at this time in your life. So I am excited to look into this. I'm intending to keep it relatively simple and quick today, but we'll see. And as always, before I get into the reading breakdown and the group selection, I am going to do a brief centering exercise for those of you who would like to take a few moments in meditation to get centered before you pick your group and before you get into the reading, so that you can feel like you're connected with your intuition and are connected with the messages that are meant for you. As always, it is important to use your intuition when approaching anything in life, really, and in tarot readings especially. All they're meant to do is really connect you with your own intuition and with the messages that are truly meant for you, that you recognize and understand as messages for you. So that's what I do here with the centering exercise. So that being said, if you are joining me for that, stick around. If you're not, the timestamps are in the description and pinned comment as always, so you can skip ahead if you would like to. But now, for those of you who are joining me for the centering exercise, first I will say that if you are driving or doing anything that requires your attention, please skip this for now, come back at a different time. And for everyone who is ready, feel free to get into a comfortable position, whatever you're doing, sitting, lying down, whatever's comfortable for you. Just relax and let yourself settle in. And if you feel called to, you may close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. And just imagine as you inhale and exhale that you are inhaling positive energy and exhaling anything that you want to let go of, anything you're ready to let go of. Just exhale out any tension, any stress. Inhale in relaxation, love, peace, and connection with yourself and your intuition. And all you need to do right now is just relax, bring that attention to your breathing, and set the intention to connect with your intuition, to receive the messages that are meant for you at this time, and to be easily able to discern messages for you and leave anything that is not alone. And you can just relax into this meditation. I do listen to the sound of my voice, feeling much more grounded in yourself than you did even a moment before, feeling connected to your intuition. And today we are going to get in touch with an ability that you already have, that's innate to you, that is important for you right now, a skill or an ability of any kind. And I want you to really connect with your intuition on this one, because it could be one that is so natural to you, you don't even recognize it as a special skill or ability. It could be something that you discount or aren't aware of your expertise in. And I would like to invite you to allow any self-doubt or critique to clear from your energy. Allow it to clear from your system, from your mind. Just let go of that and open your mind to the truth of what you are really capable of, so that you can fully embrace the messages that are for you. And be open to accepting that you are skilled and capable, that you have abilities that are useful, that maybe not everyone has. Maybe not everyone has the same level of skill or prowess at, but You can be confident in yourself and be confident that if something is not aligned with you, if you recognize that the skill I'm talking about is in an area that you actually haven't learned yet, or you feel like you are actually still learning and or just beginning a journey in, recognize that perhaps you've been drawn to this reading because you have a lot of potential there, and even if it's not fully explored yet, you can trust in your ability to learn and grow that skill. And also, you can always pick a different group as well. And so you can go forth from this meditation feeling confident in yourself, feeling confident in your ability to discern your true skills and abilities, and to accept that which you have not explored yet, and accept the potential that you have to master anything that you set your intention to. And so you can go into the rest of this reading confident that you will be able to distinguish the difference, and knowing that you as a unique individual bring to the table, whether from this lifetime or others, skills and abilities that are important for not only your own personal growth and your own life, but also the lives of others as well. And now, in a few moments, I will close this meditation, and you can feel free to move on to the group selection and reading breakdown. But if you would like to stay in meditation for a little longer, feel free to pause this video and then continue when you are ready to get into it. But for those of you who are ready to move on, let's get into the rest of the reading. Okay, so thank you to those of you who joined me for the centering exercise. I hope you enjoyed that. And also thank you to those of you who did not. I'm happy that you're here either way. And now let's get into more of the reading breakdown and the group selection. So as I mentioned, this is going to be about a skill or ability that you may be overlooking at this time, that's important for you, that wants to be highlighted for you, because there's some reason why either you need to be more attuned to it, tap into it more, or use it more in your day-to-day life, or just acknowledge that this is something that you're actually good at that is helping you at this time. Now, I have structured the reading to be pretty simple and hopefully relatively quick. I have already selected a card for each group to represent the ability or skill that we're going to be talking about. And as I go into the reading, I will I'll name some, if there's anything specific that comes through, I might name some specific skills and abilities. I'll also get into anything else that comes up energetically around that card first, and then we'll move into asking why this is coming up for you right now and why it's important, and I'll just get a few cards to clarify that, and then we'll just close out with a quote card. But as always, I want you to go into this with an open mind, set the intention to follow your intuition, that you'll know what is meant for you and what is not. And also, I mentioned this actually during the brief centering exercise, but keep an open mind to if you are, if you connect with a group where you feel like it's talking about a skill or ability that you've only just started tapping into, that you don't feel like you have a lot of knowledge or skill in yet, but you are interested in developing, keep an open mind to that. It could also mean that you have a lot of potential to develop that. So you can still listen to that group if it's resonating. But also, don't discount your own abilities. So keep an open mind to certain things that you might not expect to be relevant as a skill or ability, because sometimes things are so natural to us that we don't even realize how valuable they are. So keep an open mind to whatever comes through, and you will know what is meant for you and what is not. You can pick more than one group. You can pick one group and then decide it's not for you and pick a different one. Follow your intuition. And now let me just quickly go through the groups. So we have 4 groups here. And for group 1, we have this stone. I actually don't remember what this is, but we have this green stone for you for group 1. For group 2, we have this seashell that I found on the shore in Ireland when I was there. For group 3, we have this green malachite. And for group 4, we have this stone that I don't remember either. For some reason, Labradorite is coming to mind, but I actually don't remember what that looks like, so it's going to be really embarrassing if Labradorite looks nothing like this stone. It definitely might not be that, but that's what came to mind. So regardless, use your intuition, whatever you are drawn to, feel free to pick that group, and the timestamps, as always, are in the pinned comment and the description, so go there, check that out, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi group 1, if you chose this green stone, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a skill or ability that is important for you right now. So as I mentioned in the reading breakdown group selection, we have a card here already to represent the skill or ability that is being highlighted for you, and then I have another deck of cards to get some more information on why this is important for you right now. What is the significance of this coming up for you. And we'll also close with a quote card or two from my quote card selection just for any additional messages. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, group 1. So your card representing your skill or ability is the Emperor. And that's pretty powerful. But the first word that came through with the Emperor, actually, the first word that came through when I saw the Emperor was structure. The second word was leadership. So as I'm reading for a large collective, this can take shape in your life in many different forms, and there could be very specific ways in which leadership and structure play a role in your life, in ways in which you embody leadership and structure and how they show up as skills for you. I definitely was getting some specific roles coming through, such as manager or boss of a business, but I was also getting leadership skills that could take shape in any area of life. So you could have leadership skills that serve you really well in a family setting. You could be a leader or role model even for children in your life, or directly your own children. That's what's coming through, as well as, I do feel like in some way or other, your leadership skills and your propensity for being able to structure things in a certain way, provide structure in a certain way, does directly relate, in most cases, to other people. For some of you, this could be more about how you lead and structure your own life. And I feel like even if it's more centered on you and your relationship with yourself, there is still some kind of way that this provides like sort of a role model figure for other people. Like, even if you're not directly providing that structure and leadership for others, they, from your energy or just from how you carry yourself, from what they observe from you, they learn a lot about how they can be leaders in their own lives. They can gain a certain amount of empowerment from watching you just live your life and be yourself. For others of you, you are literally also leading and providing structure for other people. But there's some way in which your ability to do that is very important right now. And it feels almost like the Emperor, I mean, it's giving real boss energy. So no matter if you are actually a boss, or if you have your own business, or if you even have any kind of role like that in your life, like, there is boss energy. So like, I feel like you still embody this and exude this kind of like stable, solid energy. And there's a possibility for some of you, you are only just learning how to actually tap into this. I feel like there are a lot of you here who actually you can recognize in your life tangible ways in which this makes sense. So even if it's something that you've overlooked, even if it's something that you haven't really thought about as a really important skill that not everyone has, like, not everyone is good at structure, not everyone is good at leadership, even if you've overlooked that as something that you're good at, you might know. You might be like, oh, yeah, no, wait, that makes sense because of the role that I have, because of the experience that I have. Whereas for others of you, you might be feeling like, well, I don't know if I really embody that. I don't know if it really shows in my life. Is that actually true? You might not have as clear of a vision of yourself and who you are and your capabilities. And even if that's the case, I actually mentioned this in the intro, that even if you feel like there's something, a skill or ability that I talk about that you're just tapping into, this might be coming up because you have a lot of potential to develop in this area. Like, this is something that it might not come natural to you in the sense that you might not have developed it yet, but at the same time, once you start, it will be something that becomes natural to you. So, for example, if you believe in like soul contracts, like the idea that you plan your life, or the idea that you have a soul that comes to Earth with various experiences and abilities from previous lives, it's something that you would be bringing with you. It's something that even if in this lifetime you haven't tapped into yet, it is actually a natural part of your abilities that you wanted to bring into this lifetime at this point in time. And so if that resonates with you, then you can tap into that energy, and actually you might find that you are more of a natural leader than you originally thought. Or when you work on bringing more structure into your life, you find that it comes more naturally to you than you thought it would. Or even if it doesn't come naturally to you, the ways in which you learn to do that, the ways in which you learn to be a leader, you learn to create structure in your life, or in whatever it is that you're working on, I heard the word revolutionize. So it might revolutionize certain practices, or even a certain business or a certain department in wherever you're working. It could revolutionize the way that leadership and structure is implemented in the spaces that you're in, or even just in your own life, because of your unique journey that you're going through to learn how to do this for yourself. So even if it's not something that you feel like is natural to you right now, it's through that process of learning and building your own leadership skills that you will come to be an even more formidable, I heard, leader than you thought you could ever be. And it's something that you can already tap into now, even if you feel like it's not fully developed in you, because the journey is part of the process. Not part of your ability is actually your ability to believe that you even have this potential to begin with, and your ability to believe in yourself enough to go for it, to stand up and be a leader in whatever way is calling to you in your life, which is pretty cool. So let's get more information on why this is being highlighted right now and why this is important for you. So group 1, why is group 1's leadership skills and ability to provide structure and organization in some area of their life, or in general, why is this being highlighted right now? Why is it important for them to consider this, to acknowledge this, and to work with this at this time? Okay, we have the Knight of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, or Knight of Steels and Five of Rings in this deck. And let's see, is there anything else you want us to know about this skill? Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords. Okay, so I'll kind of treat it like Knight of Wands and Five of Pentacles came out together, Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords came out together. Nine of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which does feel significant, so I will put that over here. All right, and then let's get into it. So, just bumped the table, sorry. All right, so very simply put, why is this important for you right now? Because you are taking charge of your life, you're taking charge in some way. For some of you, I hear this could be like very literally, you may have just gotten some kind of promotion, you may have just gone for some kind of role that's higher up than what you normally take on, or you're considering doing this. And I feel like if that's the case, you have already developed a lot of your leadership skills, and it's really just a matter of taking them to the next level. And I don't feel like you necessarily feel like you need to prove yourself. I feel like some of you already understand, like you have faith in yourself, but there still could be some doubt lingering about, well, I can lead at this level, but can I lead at the next level? You can. But part of knowing that you can is doing it, right? It's because you are upgrading and you are getting ready, I feel like, to make some kind of move. I also feel like this is important for you right now because you might be hesitating. Like I mentioned, there was potentially some kind of doubt. So for those of you who haven't gone for it yet, you might be hesitating because you're not sure if you can take on the burdens, so to speak, of that level of leadership, that level of taking charge in your life. And this can, I feel like for a lot of people, this might very literally be in a workplace. So I'm getting the scenario of obviously like being promoted to manager or to vice president. I just heard vice president, CEO of something like that, it could be that high level. It could be also taking charge and taking leadership and ownership in a different way in terms of maybe leaving a more structured job and being that person who then creates a business yourself. So in that way, you're taking over and being a leader in your own business, being a leader in your own life, creating structure outside of any existing structures that are currently available to you. And I actually heard, for those of you who aren't doing that, who are maybe actually taking leadership in some kind of work environment that you're already in, some of you are being set up to actually do that in the future, like on your own. Like the skills that you will gain in the position of leadership that you take on next in your workplace will then set you up to do that, if you so choose, in your own business later on down the line, if that's something that resonates with you, which honestly, it may or may not, because that's something that you kind of find out as you go, right? Sometimes people have plans that they work for years and they take the time to put in that work and see if they pan out. And then other people don't even know what path they want until it's staring them right in the face. So it doesn't really matter if that's your plan or not. I feel like you will know when you get there, if that's your plan, if that's what you want to do. Another thing that is coming through with the Five of Pentacles with that Knight of Wands is, okay, so there is a lot of older brother energy here with Alec Lightwood. He's an older brother. This deck is based on a book series. And so Alec Lightwood here on the Knight of Wands is an older brother. Julian in the middle here, of all these other people, is an older brother. He is not the oldest one on this card, but he's the older brother of these dark-haired people who he takes care of for a lot of his life. So I feel like there's also a message here about focusing on your ability to lead and to provide structure, because it's not just about you taking on, like recognizing that you have the skills to lead others. And when you're leading, it's not just about taking on all the responsibility yourself, taking on all of the, like, it's not like if you are in a certain role and then you move up to manager or you move up to another level above that role that you were previously in. It's not like you then take on all of the responsibilities of the previous role and then also have a leadership role. It's that you delegate responsibilities, right? Maybe you have the experience in that previous role to then bring that knowledge with you so that you can help people understand what their role is, but it is not your job to do that. You are the one who is delegating. So I feel like there's something here about going from being like relatively independent, an independent worker, to accepting more responsibility for others, but then through that understanding that your responsibility then changes. If your responsibility is to lead others and to provide structure, then that's what you do, right? You don't do their jobs for them. And so there's this, okay, so there might be some resistance to some of you around taking on a more leadership role and taking responsibility for other people, because you may feel almost like some of you could have some control freak tendencies, right? So feeling like, oh, okay, if I step up and be more of a leader, then I have to do all their work and be a leader. And it's like, no, it's like also being a leader is about trusting yourself to allow other people to do their job and to create the environment for people to thrive and to play their roles as well as they can. And this is letting you know that you do have the abilities to do that. You have the ability to be a fair leader, to provide a structure in which people can thrive, that you can do all of that and not overwork yourself, not overburden yourself. I feel like there's a message here about also structuring yourself in terms of understanding this is what my role is, this is what my responsibility is, and these are the things I do and these are the things I don't do. And you're doing that for yourself, and then you're also doing that for other people, and that is your role. And I'm also getting the message, of course, that this could be not so literally in a work situation. It could be in a family situation as well, especially if you are considering having children, or maybe you've suddenly I'm getting a very specific scenario for some people of maybe taking care of children that have maybe suddenly come into your care through some unexpected way that you might have to take care of. Maybe you haven't had the experience of taking care of like this many children at once or something like that. I know that's very specific, but that could be relevant for someone. And it's learning how to essentially be a parent in that situation and what your role is and what it's not, and being able to draw those boundaries for yourself and make those boundaries clear to other people who are not in the same position as you. And yeah, you have that capability, and it's something that is important for you right now because it will make your life less overwhelming when you understand that you can step up and say, okay, here's what needs to be done. Like, you have an eye for that. Doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you will always know immediately what needs to be done or what is going to work for everyone, but you also have the wherewithal to, once you find out that something needs to be changed or that you need to pivot, you have the ability to figure out what the better option is to help people move in that new direction, to find a solution that works for everyone to the best of your ability. And yeah, I feel like your capacity is expanding. Like, in some way you are expanding what you're capable of, what you can handle and what you can't. Again, some of you might just feel like you're tapping into this right now and you're still learning it and you're still a beginner. Some of you, you're up leveling, you're moving on to the next level and you have what it takes. And it's really just a matter of trusting that. And I also just got a message of trusting that you can also learn from other people's mistakes. So like, you can look at, say, I know I keep using the example of a job or a business. This can be also very personal to your own life as well, but this is the example that keeps coming through. Like, looking at another department in a business and being like, ooh, I don't like how that's run. The culture that's there, the structure that they have, something's not working. But you might also be able to look at the same department and see what is working as well, and you can take those into account and then use that information in your own department. I feel like you're very good at that. I feel like you're very good at seeing what does and doesn't work for other people and then implementing that so you don't have the same problems that they have. And so there might be some issues that crop up along the way in your structure as well. But you won't have to go through some of the things that other departments, like, you are truly a leader in the sense that you are not going to just follow what everyone else is doing just because that's how it's been done. You're not afraid to ask questions about, like, well, you know, why would we do it this way? You're not afraid to set the tone. And even if you are a little afraid to set the tone, you're stepping much more into that power. Like, you are realizing that actually, like, you might be taking on a new level of, like, charge, of saying, like, I'm going to take charge. I'm going to take the reins here. I'm going to be the one who says, actually, let's try it like this. I can take the responsibility for that, but I feel like it is going to work out because I can see how this isn't working, and so let's just try a new direction. Like, you're the one who's stepping up and actually saying that. And this is letting you know, like, yes, it is time for you to do that. Yes, here's your license. I just heard, here's your license to kill. I mean, I hope that's not literal. I hope we don't have any, like, hitmen in the audience, but, here's your license to take charge. Here's your license to say, okay, no, let's try it this way. All right. Like, you are ready for that. And with the Ace of Wands here and the Ace of Swords, it's because you have fresh new ideas and you have new adventures calling your name. So, I do feel like a lot of people here are like in the middle of like starting a new business, taking on a new role at work, starting a family, taking responsibility for things or people that you haven't taken responsibility for in some way. And this is saying you are bringing fresh ideas and fresh action to whatever space that you're taking leadership in. And it's very needed and very necessary. And last but not least, with the 9 of Wands on the bottom of the deck, this feels like resilience. One of the things that is also coming through, in addition to your leadership skills and ability to provide structure, is your resilience. That is very important in a leader. The ability to look back at what hasn't worked in the past and to move on from it. You can learn from it and you can take knowledge from it, but you can also detach and leave. You might have to work through some emotion first, but you can detach eventually from the emotion and just have the learning, just have the knowledge follow you to the next stage. And I feel like this can also be indicating some of you leaving behind a previous cycle, looking back on things that once didn't work and being able to then move on from that and say, okay, well, we'll just change how we do things and we'll move on from there. And that is a very important skill in a leader and something that you might have actually had to learn in very difficult ways in previous experiences that you had. And maybe even resilience might be something that you've learned throughout your life in different areas that you might not even realize can like help you, and say like you've experienced that in your personal life and you realize, oh wait, that actually can help me in my career, that kind of thing. I feel like you don't even realize at the extent to which the experiences that you've had have really prepared you for whatever it is that you're stepping into now, when you're stepping more into your power, when you're taking more charge and when you're taking more responsibility. Some of you might realize, but some of you don't realize how much your prior experiences in this life have really set you up for success here. And it's time to take that next step. It's time to trust yourself to be ready for the next level, whatever that means for you. So all of that being said, I'm just going to close out with a quote card or two for final messages. Okay, that's 3. And I didn't even shuffle the other deck, but we'll take them because I'm feeling generous. And they did pop out very insistently, so and I'll just say for group 1, is there anything else? That's way too many. But is there anything else for group 1? I'll give it, yep, okay. We have 1. I will take that one, and then we'll leave it at that, okay. All right. Group 1, your quote cards. Let's just give you some closing messages here. So first one that popped out is this. And this says, "Today, Blue Thought, is the day I stop listening to the future and start living it instead." From The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes, it is time for you to stop listening to the future and start living it instead. So that to me does speak of taking charge of your life. Like saying today is the day, I'm just going to do it. And it feels like there's a lot of that energy here. Like you are ready to take charge. You are ready to be the leader of your own life. You're ready to be the leader in whatever area you're stepping up in. And this also might be a message for those of you who might be really, some of you might have spent a lot of time with like tarot readers and psychics and trying to maybe apply the structure that you need in your present life to how it's going to turn out in your future, right? That's that control energy. And this is a little nudge to say, hey, stop trying to listen to the future. Stop trying to figure out what it's going to hold. Start living it right now. Start living it right now. You don't need more permission. You don't need more insight. You don't need someone telling you what to do and where to go. You are quite literally embodying this emperor, and this emperor does not need anyone to tell them that. And that also accounts for, like, even if you're not always going to, readers and trying to predict the future and trying to find people to predict the future for you, also just listening to other people's advice, listening to other people tell you who you are and where you should go and who you should be. Now, we're a leader now. That means that you take other people into account, but at the end of the day, you don't just follow someone just because they said it, because, you're looking to them as your leader. No, you are the leader. You decide what to take on and what not to. And that being said, we have this one next, which says, "There is nothing more exciting than a room full of people." This is from Fleabag. It's a TV show. Yeah, so I feel like this definitely has to do with your relationship with other people. There's some way in which your leadership impacts other people. And for those of you who are more extroverted, it's time to embrace more of that extroversion and go out and influence people, talk to people. And when I say influence, I don't mean like manipulate, but like if you are a leader, if you are in charge in some area, you do have an influence over people. Use it responsibly. Be excited about it. Also, be open to the impact that you have on other people, and be confident that you are. One thing that makes a good leader is someone who can also recognize the leadership qualities in others and the value that others bring. And I feel like you are very good at that. That's another skill or ability that's coming through, recognizing the potential in other people. And that is something that you should not overlook in yourself. That's a really valuable skill and asset, and you might be surprised at the different ways in which you can use that to benefit you in your life and also benefit others by honing in on what it is that others really bring to the table. And that's an important part of leveling up in your leadership. Then we have this card, which says, In reality, there are no separate events. Life moves along like water. It's all connected to the source of the river, is connected to the mouth and the ocean. I don't know if this is a typo or, well, I wrote this but like water, it's all connected to the source of the river. The source of the river is connected to the mouth and the ocean. So basically it's talking about everything being connected, which I was talking about with the 9 of Steels, this idea that everything in your life up to this point has prepared you for where you are now, and that's why you are who you are, and that's why you're where you are, and that's why you have the opportunities that you have. And so use that, trust in that foundation to help you move forward into this new level of self-empowerment where you trust your skills that you've already built with a lifetime of experience, no matter how long or short that lifetime has been. And last but not least, we have this card with, what we have to discover is that there is no safety, that seeking it is painful, and that when we imagine that we have found it, we don't like it. This is from The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. Yes, so this is for any of you who might feel like stepping into this new level of leadership makes you vulnerable, if it feels unsafe. This is a reminder that safety and security is an illusion. And while learning how to feel safe in our own bodies is possible, learning how to feel safer within the universe that we inhabit is a skill that we can develop, and possibly something that you have developed already with this 9 of Wands here. There's also the realization that in leveling up, in taking the next step, there's always going to be a little bit of unsettlement and fear. And as long as you have those skills and those tools and that background, you'll always recover. And you do. And so as long as you're able to put up with some of that discomfort, that initial uncertainty, the potentials of what could happen, and you can understand that you have the ability to make it through that, and also that's kind of part of the fun, the uncertainty, the potential danger. I feel like there is a part of you that really enjoys that and would not enjoy something less, and that's why you're taking whatever next step that you're taking. That's why you're feeling called to take the lead in some way. That's why you're being encouraged to do so, because it's like once you master a certain level, like it gets kind of boring, right? You want to move on to the next thing, and it's time for you to do that. And so this is reminding you that you don't need to cling to being smaller than you are or less powerful than you are because you need to feel safer, because that's an illusion. It's not real anyway, so you might as well take the next step. You might as well stand up and be bigger and be more influential and be the leader that you're meant to be in your life, taking that responsibility on for yourself, maybe even for other people, and trusting that you can do so in a way that is healthy and beneficial to yourself and others, because you're meant to be here, not because you're meant to be here and because you have the skills and also the sensibility to do so in a way that aligns with you and with others, as opposed to forcing your will or exerting control. No, you are stepping into a much more mature version of leadership that will benefit not only yourself, but other people in the long run. And yeah. Anything else? I feel like empowerment is your word here. So take the word empowerment with you today. Self-empowerment, but also recognizing that you stepping into your empowerment also empowers others, because I feel like this leadership quality in you is not, it involves how you influence others. It involves other people inherently in some way. But it's part of it is also recognizing the leader in other people, recognizing the power in other people, and in doing so, helping to empower other people, either directly or indirectly. And so remember that as well. You stepping into your empowerment and you're using your leadership skills, using your skills to the degree that, to the next degree, to the at the next level, is a way of being of service as well, which I feel like for a lot of people is important. So, all right, that is all we have today for group 1. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, and so we also are a certified consulting hypnotist. She does tarot as well as me. And she also does some human design readings. So you can check out our services on our site. Link is in the description. And please like, comment, subscribe as well. Let me know how this resonated. I'm very curious, so if you feel like putting that in the comments, please do. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi group 2. If you selected the seashell, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a skill or ability that you may be overlooking at this time that is important for you for some reason that we will get into. And as I mentioned in the intro, also, oh, by the way, sorry if the alignment of this is like a little bit off. I had an issue. I had to like realign my phone camera, and it was really annoying. So I did my best to make it similar to what it was before, but whatever. Anyway, not important. My perfectionist alarm bells are going off, but it's fine. So your skill or ability that is important for you at this time. As I mentioned in the intro to the reading, I already pulled a card to represent that skill or ability, and we will just get right into it and see what it is that you are good at that you might not be thinking about right now. That's important. So we have the 10 of Intelligence, which is also the 10 of Swords for you. And this is very interesting. I feel like an important skill or ability that's coming through for you, I mean, it definitely has to do with, you are able to see through some bullshit, I feel. That's how it came through to me. Being able to be a light in the darkness, not only in the sense of, like, there's the being a light in the darkness in the sense of, like, shining love and, providing joy for people and being, like, someone who is, a light in that way. But there's also shining a light on things that need to be seen, right? Shining a light on things that other people don't see, stuff in the shadows, stuff that it goes unacknowledged, or can be used to manipulate other people. And I feel like you can be a guiding light in that way. You can guide people through the darkness because I feel like you've been through it yourself. And in particular, I feel like this comes down to being able to sniff out things that are just not legit. Things that are, I'm actually getting a specific, this might not be your exact situation. I feel like this can play out in very individual ways for everyone listening. So it doesn't have to be that, like, for example, you align so much with the story of this person I'm about to speak about, but I'm getting a specific person that I've watched. I don't remember the name. If I do remember to, I will try to link her channel, just like in the description, but I make no promises. I might not remember to do that. But there's someone who used to be in a cult. They grew up in a cult, and since coming out of that and deconditioning from that and learning about that kind of mentality and how that happens and the things to look out for, has become a very eloquent speaker on the difference between like someone who's like a healthy leader or guide or teacher and someone who's not, someone who's more nefarious, someone who might not be fully authentic in what they claim themselves to be, and even someone who might have the best of intentions but might not be coming from the best place because they're not fully they're coming from more of a place of ego, maybe even without being aware. And so this is someone who is able to easily and eloquently point that out in other people because of their past experience. And so I feel like for this group, I'm getting a definite like bullshit meter here. Someone who is very good at like being able to tell when someone is legit, when something is legit, when something is helpful and useful, and when something is not. With also the nuance to understand that what might align with might not align with you or with one person might align with someone else more readily. And that there is nuance in this. It's not so black and white. I feel like you are someone who also has that ability as well. It's not coming through as much. Like with group one, there were some specifics in terms of how this aligns with their life, and there were certain storylines that I felt like were predominant in the group that I was speaking to. In this group, it's not really as clear to me in what way this exists in your life, like in what shape or form this takes in your life. So some of you could relate to the experience that I described of the person I was talking about who, you know, grew up in an environment where there was a lot of manipulation and became very acquainted with the deceit around them, and then grew into someone who could understand that and talk eloquently to other people about how that happens, why that happens, how to avoid it, what to look for, and things like that. That could be very much your story. And I feel like for some of you, you actually do recognize this within yourself. You just might not recognize how important it is to whatever it is that you're doing in your life right now. Like, I feel like there could be something that you're doing in your life right now where this skill could come in handy, could be useful, connects well with what you're doing, and could be something you even help people with. And maybe you're not quite doing that yet, or maybe you don't quite recognize that this is something that is unique to you or is as well honed in you as it is. Interesting. So we're going to now get more into that, actually. Why is this coming up as important for you right now? Why is this being highlighted for you? And how you can use it in your life. So let's tap into that. So for group 2, why is this skill, why is this like super sense I just heard coming in handy right now? Why is it important right now? Okay, 2 of Cups. Why is this important right now? 6 of Pentacles, 6 of Rings. The Lycanthropes, the Moon. And what can you use this for right now in your life? Queen of Wands. Okay. Bottom of the deck, Page of Swords. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely not aligned in the way that it was before, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna see if I can, yeah, so I have more space. It's fine. Okay, so, let's see, can you see those cards? Yeah. Okay. So, with the Two of Cups coming out first, it is, okay, this is very specific, but for some of you, it's very useful for you because either you're in a new relationship, you are looking for a new relationship, or you are helping other people with their relationships. I heard the word relationship counselor very strongly, very specific, I know, but some of you might resonate with that here. In a more general sense, it's important in how you relate to people on a one-to-one basis. And so I feel like you are either going to be coming into contact with more people who you may want to work with, you may want to create a partnership with, you may want to create a friendship with, a relationship with, and your ability to hone in on what is true and what is false, someone's bullshit or someone's authenticity, obviously will come in handy in the vetting process in terms of like, yes, this person is for me, this person's not. I feel like it's something that, it's interesting because it's something that I feel like it comes naturally to you in one sense, but in another sense, you're very aware of it, and it's something that you actively use. So it's not so natural to you that it's such an instinct that you don't even know how you know who's for you and who's not, right? Like someone might go through life very instinctually and gravitate towards certain people who are necessary for their growth, or safe for them even, without even really like pinpointing why, because it's just so innate and so intuitive. I feel like for you, you are very aware of the process you go through in some way, and that is important because then you can articulate it to other people and awaken other people to that process, especially if they are people who feel like they don't have as much of an innate sense for that kind of thing. And I do feel like there's a certain group of people here within group 2 who are actually looking to or could find a lot of success working with people one-on-one in developing their skills of discernment. Discernment is really, I feel like, a good word to capture the overall ability that's being highlighted here. And with the 6 of Rings next to the 2 of Runes, it's about discerning as well, like what is an equal give and take opportunity, discerning like the equality of a relationship, discerning the the ways that two people could benefit each other, right? The things that they have to bring to the table versus when something might be imbalanced, right? When someone might be bringing more than another person. And this doesn't just mean like you are sorting through, okay, like I'm getting like also like a matchmaker, and it's like, oh, like, okay, these people would be good together. Oh, these people wouldn't. But I feel like there's more nuance to it in terms of like I was saying, like a relationship coach or something like that, relationship counselor. If someone's coming to you to work on their relationship, you might even be working with couples and in determining what is like a mediator. I feel like you are a good mediator. You would be a very good mediator in some way, shape, or form, because you can determine, okay, like here, if there's an imbalance in a relationship, okay, here are some ways that you can work on that, or you can at very least identify what that imbalance is and help people work through on their own how to address that imbalance, right? It might not always just be about discerning, is this for me or not? It might also be about discerning, oh, okay, this is what's causing the disconnect here. And here's some potential ways of healing that. Here's how we can bring these people back together as well. And you can do that not only in your own relationships in life, but in others. The Page of Swords coming out on the bottom of the deck often there's a lot of swords here. There's a lot of intellect. There's a lot of mental energy with this Page of Swords, the 10 of Swords. So I do feel like it's about communication, self-expression, and intelligence. And for you, you're using your discernment. You're able to... also, I feel like you're able to discern when something has run its course and versus when something just needs to be adjusted. And that's an important skill as well, because it's not always easy to tell. And I feel like this is something that you are generally very good at. Again, it might be something that you've developed over time that you are conscious of as a process, as opposed to something that's very intuitive for you, because I do feel like it's something that you can teach to other people. And that's important to this group, because I feel like teaching that to other people in some way is important to your work or whatever your purpose is in life, something that you want to do or something that you're already doing. With the Page of Swords here, I know I said that before and then I didn't explain. Going back to it, that can be, for me, a card about self-expression, but it was also what clued me into potentially you having had to grow this ability, that this is something that you became very conscious of and aware of through a process of growth that you might not have always felt was easy. And so that's why it's actually a very important skill for you, because again, like, that's why you can teach it to other people, because you had to learn it yourself. If you always were really good at this, if you were always really good at discernment, you might not be able to teach it to you wouldn't be able to teach it to other people, because you don't know how you do it, you just do it, right? But I feel like you did actually have to learn this, whether you consciously went through this process of like, oh, I need to learn discernment, let me learn it, or you kind of developed it over time and started to understand, oh, that's what the problem was. Okay, now I can address it, now I can move on from that, and I can clear it. I just heard. So maybe for some of you, you also do energy work. That might be another way that you help people. And so for those of you who very specifically have a skill that relates to energy work, things like cord cutting, things like energy clearing, things like ending cycles, like that's something that you can help people with very strongly. As for more of what you can do with this, with the Lycanthropes here and the Queen of Wands, Lycanthropes is akin to the moon in this deck. Again, there's definitely something about couples counseling. I just got specifically helping people leave toxic or maybe abusive even relationships. People who either are leaving those kinds of relationships, or working with couples who have maybe a toxic dynamic to either move on or help fix their relationship. Excuse me. Working with people who might have difficulty doing that on their own, which you, again, may have gone through your own cycle with that as well, and that's what gives you the insight that you have. But also working with things that might be less clear to other people, confusing to other people, bringing clarity ultimately to situations that have been difficult, that have been confusing, that other people can't see as clearly because of the how close they are to the situation. You can do that. And I do feel like it's also, it's helping people find their independence, and also you as well, finding your own independence, trusting yourself, standing in your power, feeling confident. I see this Queen of Wands as representing both the energy you can create in other people through this knowledge that you have, through the experience that you have, through the discernment that you have, and also you in and of yourself, right? You have this Queen of Wands energy, this confidence, this discernment. This Queen of Wands here, especially, like, sometimes she gives me Queen of Swords vibes, because she's like looking very shrewdly at something. It looks like she's calculating, it looks like she's considering, and I feel like you have that Queen of Swords energy as well. I almost see this as like both of them in one. And so that makes you not only very confident and sovereign within yourself, but it also makes you an excellent giver of advice and teacher to those who come to you for that. Because I get with the Queen energy, the wands and the swords, I feel like you draw people into you, towards you. It's not for you to necessarily go out and force your information onto others. And in fact, I feel like you wouldn't want to do that, because most of you, I feel like, have dealt with the toxic energy of like people who force their opinions and ideas onto you, try to manipulate people into believing in them, or like be like, someone who's a guru and things like that. And you're actively the opposite, the antithesis of that energy. You're someone who lets people come to you, and those who come to you, you enable them, you give them the tools to be independent, to think independently, to get more in touch with their intuition, to get more in touch with clarity, to see things in a different way, to see things more clearly. But you don't force anything on anyone. You are someone who is very good at letting other people live their journey, unless it aligns with yours, in which case you are able to step in and give your 2 cents, give your advice, but from a place of detachment and from a place of confidence, not only in yourself, but in other people. I feel like you can have that confidence for other people that they might not have in themselves. Because I do feel like you're someone who people might come to in a very vulnerable state, and you're able to be a bit of a pillar for them in those moments because you've developed your own sense of empowerment. And empowerment came through in group 1 as well, but it was very different sort of energy. Although, of course, if you're here from group 1, both might resonate with you as well. But this is a very, it's a very feminine energy. It doesn't matter what your gender is. There's a very feminine energy here of, waiting, receiving, allowing people to come to you and giving your counsel when it's asked of you, when people come to you for it, and knowing the difference between when you're meant to step up and step in and when you're meant to allow and step back. Again, discernment, just very strongly coming through. So very interesting. Yeah, so that's important for you now because I do feel like you are... Well, I feel like why it's important for you right now is going to be very different for a lot of people. Some of you might be actively creating a practice or business around this. You might be a therapist, a spiritual counselor, a life coach, anyone who's in that area. But it's also possible that you are some kind of, I almost said matriarch, but it doesn't have to be that you are a woman. Some kind of, you could be a mother figure as well, because the Moon and the Queen of Wands, this character in particular is a mother, so you could be a mother figure that is maybe dealing with, maybe your children are learning lessons about discernment right now, and you are someone who is able to hold that in-between energy of being there, being open and available for intervention and for guidance, while also allowing them to come to you, allowing them to have their experiences and then come to you if and when they're ready. But yeah, I do also feel like this could be very much in your personal life, in your interpersonal relationships. You are learning to be that person as well. And either way, it's helping you like become even more like, I don't know, magnetic is the word that's coming through than you were before when it comes to people specifically, and like bringing people on. And in group 1, I was getting like interacting with people on like a more broad level, like leadership in public spheres, in work, in groups even, or being like very much your own leader. In this group, I feel like it's much more like one-on-one. It feels much more like counseling or like cozy, or like it just feels like a little bit more like it's not out there in the open. Like you're not like being this big like leader, speaker, whatever. It's like you might have a more like you might not be as out there. You might be someone who like people come to when they know about you, but you're not like, it's like the difference between the CEO of a company and like, I don't know, I can't, like, there's not, I got the term shadow king, like, yeah, someone who, like, pulls the strings behind the, like, someone who pulls the strings from, like, behind the scenes, but is not, like, okay, like, the difference between the lead actor in a play and, like, the stage manager or the director, right? So, like, you have a very important role, you have your own set of leadership qualities and skills, but you're not the one who's out there on stage, like, leading the performance in the spotlight. You are very much like in the shadows, but it's where you're meant to be. That's how you're meant to lead in a way. Whether you're, you know, like leading other people or more just like helping other people lead themselves. All right, so with that all being said, any final messages for group 2 before we close out related to this reading? Okay, we got this card, and then there's another deck here, so I'll just give it a few shuffles. Is there anything else we want to leave group 2 with we close out this reading. That is a lot of cards. Anything we want. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll take that. Okay, interesting, because we have a very black and white card, and then we have a very colorful card. I feel like that distinction is important somehow, but let's look at this one first. Looks kind of like a cave, right? And like some reeds. I feel like almost like you operate from inside this cave. Like you're like the hermit in the cave, or like the wise woman in the cave, and people go to you, and like it's like, you know, like their relatives like are the like, or friends are like, hey, like there's this person, like there's this person you should go see. Like I don't want to like talk about it like too loud because, you know, they like kind of work in shadow, or they like, you know, they do. Maybe you do something like people don't want to advertise that they go to, but yet you do a good job, so they pass on, you know, they're like, yeah, like you should go see this person. Like that's what I'm kind of feeling. And this says, sometimes life hides gifts in the darkest of places, from Anne with an E. Yeah, I feel like for a lot of you, your gifts in this area were developed in some dark places, whether more so mentally and emotionally for you, or like in like how you grew up, where you some situations that you've been in, things like that. Like I said, I feel you're someone who has gained this discernment, this wisdom through experience, rather than just like innately having it from right off the bat. Like I feel like you had to go through some stuff to develop this, and this is something that you also like. I feel like you would resonate with this message of sometimes life hides gifts in the darkest of places, because I feel like you either have already or are starting to acknowledge where, like, even though the experience might have been difficult, like there's a use for the skills that you have now. Like you can help people with these things. You can use them for something. And I feel like you're the kind of person who wants to do that. And you might also help people who are ready, of course, for whom this is a view that would benefit them, also learn how to see their lives through that lens as well. And then we have this card, which says, the real secret of life. This is the real secret of life. To be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it is play. From Alan Watts. And that feels like advice for you. Because there was some serious energy in this group. And don't get me wrong, I feel like that is earned. I feel like that is part of your journey and possibly part of your work. But I feel like this is a message about taking yourself less seriously. Being a little bit lighter with how you approach life. And that also might be something that you are, for some of you, that might be something you're already very good at, because you might have developed that. I feel like for a lot of you, you developed that through some difficulty. Like you come to take life and yourself less seriously through experiences that you've had, realizing what an important skill that is. And again, something that you can help other people develop, help other people move out of, I feel like there's this, for some of you, there's this feeling of being a bridge from the world where like people are very engaged with doing the work, you know, like healing work, doing the work, shadow work, working on themselves, to moving into a world where people are more playful. They're experimenting, they're approaching life with more play, with more curiosity, as opposed to seeing life as work. You're seeing life as play. And I feel like you are an important bridge to that world, whether you realize it or not. Very interesting message. Like moving out of the healing mindset, the working mindset, into the playful mindset of the future. I don't even know if that if that's like, I'm not 100% sure what that means, but that is exactly what came through, and I find that quite interesting. But yeah, also for anyone who, you know, just might need a reminder to lighten up a bit, to bring more presence into your day, to be more playful when it comes to your work, and find the ways in which you can bring that play into your work and into other people's lives, no matter what your work is. Finding that playful side to whatever it is that you consider work, it could just be really helpful advice for you right now. But that being said, that's all we have for you, group 2. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to know if you would like to share how this resonated. And if you are interested in personal tarot reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. For those of you who don't know, I work with my mom, and we are also certified consulting hypnotists, and she does human design readings as well, so you can check that out on our site. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, group 3. If you chose the malachite, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about your special skill or ability that you may or may not be overlooking right now that is important. And we will look into what that is. We will look into why it's being highlighted and what you can do with it. And I also will end with just a quote card or two from my own collection that I made, and with any closing messages, and that's what we're gonna do. So first things first, let's just take a look at your card to represent your skill or ability. So what skill or ability is being highlighted for group 3? We have the Queen of Wisdom, which is also known as the Queen of Cups, and this feels like compassion, empathy, emotional awareness, emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, but a very soft, gentle feeling. In fact, for some of you, it's not even so much like a skill or ability, but more like an energy you exude. I feel like whether or not you feel like you're in touch fully with your empathy or your inner peace or your compassion at all times, I feel like you kind of exude like an energy of comfort that people, animals, what have you, can feel, can sense. Interesting. Yeah. But as well, I do feel like there is that's something that's more like maybe other people can feel and experience that you might not be aware of. I am getting almost like a Blue Sergeant from the Raven Cycle. She would not necessarily, not her personality or her character that really fits into this, but more like she has a certain ability. She's a daughter of psychics, but she doesn't have a psychic ability that she can experience. She more has, she's kind of like an energy battery. She makes things louder for other psychics. So it's not something that she can experience for herself per se, but other people can feel it, sense it, and use it, right? It's kind of giving that vibe. So for some of you, you might not even be aware of this fully, and it might just make more sense to you when it comes to other people's reactions to you, the sort of careers or the roles that you've been drawn into in your life. I would say probably you would be, even if you're not aware of this, you might be really good with animals or really good with children, like calming people down, calming animals down, things like that, babies. But there's also an element where there's also I feel like there's that energy that might just be innate to you that, again, like you might not experience for yourself, like other people might experience it. And maybe if even for some of you, even when you're like internally feeling like, oh, like I've got a lot of anxiety, I'm feeling really frazzled, whatever, you still kind of exude that energy. Like other people don't necessarily notice it as much because you just give off this sense of like calm and peace at most times. Whereas for others of you, I feel like for everyone here, there is a degree, however, of like carefully honed compassion, a sense of emotional awareness and intelligence that you have also had to develop over time, that you do have knowledge of as well. I do just feel for a lot of people there is an innate sense of that within you. But for some of you, you did actually have to build that. And even if you already had that within you, you had to actively work on that. So some of you, I'm getting like somatic healing. Some of you might be dancers involved in yoga. You might be very about the physical body, art, creativity, anything that gets you in touch with your emotions or your body itself and how you experience them. I feel like that's something that a lot of you here have experience with that is not only useful to others, but yourself as well. And I am getting a lot of career messages. Like, I haven't necessarily been phrasing it this way, but like I feel like for a lot of groups, there are skills that can be applied to careers, but not everyone might have this, might be using this skill set in a career at the same time. But I feel like this is you're someone who could be good with when it comes to like caretaker roles. You could be good with things like therapeutic intervention, somatic healing is coming through a lot. Maybe tarot card reading, things like that, tapping into your intuition. That could be something that you're already involved in or you would be very good at, but does not have to be the case for everyone here. Might just resonate with a select amount of people. But yeah, interesting. Like emotional support animal vibes, honestly, for better or worse. But let's look into more why this is being highlighted for you right now. Why is this important for you right now? Okay, Page of Cups reverse. Why is this important for group 3 right now? Why is this Queen of Cups energy? Okay, you're interesting. The Changeling reversed. And then what can you use this for? What can you do with this skill or ability? It's not really how I was asking it in previous, like I sort of just started asking this in previous groups, but I didn't feel as called to do so as I do now. What can you do with this? 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords. The shuffling for this group has been really weird, so that's interesting. Okay. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So a lot of feminine energy here with the 2 queens coming out and very nurturing, very caring. Like Cups and Pentacles are also the more like their earth and water, which are considered the feminine suits of the tarot. And then we also have like the Queen. So it's like a very mother energy. This is giving mother. It's giving mother. I know that's also been used in like a sort of slang way. So that might be a confirmation for someone, or that might resonate, because it doesn't have to be literal. Like you don't have to be a literal mother, but I feel like and you don't have to be a woman either at all. I feel like you could potentially be a very good one if you wanted to. And a lot of people here might actually be very drawn to being a mother or parent of some kind, but that does not have to be the case by any means. And okay, so why is this important for you right now? Page of Cups reversed, or Pages of Cups reversed, and the Changeling, which aligns with Cancer. Cancer is it's the Chariot. Cancer is the astrological sign that is assigned to the Chariot. So Cancer energy, I mean, with the Queen of Cups here, yeah, Cancer energy for sure might be significant. So you could have that in your chart somewhere, wherever that is in your chart, that might be important for you. I do know at time of recording, it's supposed to be a very lucky time for Cancer risings in particular. I think rising, sun, moon might all benefit from, I think it's like Jupiter's in Cancer, and then also at the very time of this recording, like Venus is also going into Cancer. So it's just like supposed to be a really lucky time. So if you are watching this around that time, then that could be significant for you if you have that placement. Very specific message, but take it if it resonates. And but just in general, like Cancer is about emotional depth. It's also about having like a shell to protect your soft underbelly. There is a softness there, a softness that isn't always obvious, but yet is nevertheless felt and experienced. Page of Cups reversed, the Changeling reversed. Why is this important for you right now? This is interesting. I feel like Page of Cups reversed, the Changeling reversed. Why are these reversed? I feel like this is important for you right now because you need to become more aware of how your inherent presence is valuable and how you don't need to try as hard as you might think in order to be there for people and to be of service. You showing up is enough. And knowing that, okay, because you might be someone who is not super aware of how much, like, your impact on others and on, like, the world around you. And so it might be easy for you. I'm getting like a battery that gets drained very easily. And it's because I feel like you don't have the energetic boundaries that you would have if you understood how your energy works. And so I feel like you are someone who might unconsciously allow things and people to drain your energy without replenishing it for yourself because you just don't know how to work with it yet. This is a group where I'm actually feeling called to say, if you can, like, if you're drawn to anyone in the energy healing field, like if you're drawn to Reiki or you're drawn to any energy healers, you might benefit from going to see them, from learning more about that as a craft, as a skill, as an experience, because it might actually clarify certain things about your experience that you're not aware of. Like if you were like, oh, like, why do I feel so drained? Like, I'm getting like you might be very much an introvert, but part of the reason why you feel that way is because you are easily drained in social settings. But if you did learn how to work with your energy more efficiently, you might not experience that as much. And so it doesn't mean that you suddenly have to change your whole life around and become more of an extrovert and like go and interact with people more, but you might just inherently be more comfortable doing so because you're not getting drained as easily. Interesting, not the direction I was it's one of those, sometimes with a reading, you know, you look at the cards and you know where they just speak to you so loudly and you know where the message is coming from in the meaning of the card. And then other times the cards spur a message in you. You're not really 100% sure like where it came from or how you got there from those cards, but it just starts to come out. And it's interesting that I'm explaining that to you because I almost feel like that explains how you experience your ability or skill as well. Like it just kind of happens. You don't know how it happens. It's really almost the opposite of what I was picking up in group 2, where it, and also to an extent group 1, but more so group 2, where I feel like their skill or ability was something that they developed because it was something that they had to learn and they went through a process, and it's something that they can easily communicate and explain to other people. This feels more like an energy, a thing that you just are, that you just do, that you just be, that you are not aware of as much and is more innate. And so it's like you can't really explain it, it just kind of happens. But then learning more about yourself, learning more about how to hone it, how to use it, will help you stop draining yourself. It will help you use it more effectively, more consciously. Yeah, I mean, energy work, energy healing, learning more about that might be a useful skill for a lot of people here. Like I almost feel like it's like this innate thing that you have that you can learn to channel more effectively for both yourself and for others. That will, I feel like in most importantly, make your life more comfortable. Help you, direct and channel your energy at specific times. So it's kind of like, it feels like for a lot of people here, you just exude this, but it's not always directed or channeled at specific people for a specific purpose in a specific way. And while that can be beautiful for other people to experience and to be in, it's something that, again, like drains you a lot. Whereas if you have more of a boundary, a barrier, if you can set boundaries with your energy, with yourself, with your time, and create those practices that you need to maintain this energy that you have that is very valuable to the world around you, to the people in your life, whether they know it or not, then you can channel it more effectively and efficiently for them and for you. You can still be this center of like grounding and peace, but you can also feel the benefits of that as well, not just exude that. And it can be more of like a two-way street, an exchange of energy that's more equal, as opposed to you just kind of like, it's going back to Blue Sargent from the Raven Cycle. She, being an energy amplifier, is taught by her mother, the psychic, to protect her energy, to envision a bubble of light around her, like practices that people in spiritual communities often talk about and things like that. If you have not tried that before, that's important for you. I would say, yeah, like practices like that might actually be a good stepping stone for you in terms of starting to experience and understand your energy more beneficially. Because she is someone who, like, she does notice when someone oversteps her boundary and draws too much energy from her, and then she feels drained. And I feel like that is something that happens to you without even necessarily realizing it. And it doesn't mean that other people are trying to do this to you. It might just happen. There might be some people who do, but like I feel like more people do so without even realizing it, without intending it. And it's because you don't have enough boundaries around your energy to maintain it, to keep it. And also practices to take care of yourself, allowing yourself to be alone, to be, because I'm seeing, like, she's like, I feel like, a spa day, a nice bath, like something relaxing, like really being relaxed in your own energy, learning to relax in yourself, learning to feed that energy back into yourself, especially if you're someone who, like, exudes peace for others but does not feel a lot of peace internally. Like, you might be taking on a lot of other people's stuff, and that's getting stuck in you, and you're not getting to actually feel the benefits of your own energy, and you're meant to. So what you can do with this is, again, I feel like even though the Eight of Blades, often Eight of Swords, is like about like limiting beliefs, I feel like this will help you unblock some limiting beliefs you might have around your capacity for socialization, your capacity for engaging with people, your capacity for healing, your capacity for energy as well, like having more energy for yourself, for the things that you want to do in your life. This will help you unlock and undo and remove some of those limiting beliefs. And I feel like it also simultaneously is symbolizing you kind of like having a bit more of a barrier. So you will be able to have boundaries that don't keep you more caged in, actually let you be more free in the long run, because they're set with the intention of and the knowledge of, like, okay, this is what fulfills me, gives me energy, this is what helps protect me, this is what my limits are, and yet this is what I can do. And you can expand your capacity naturally through taking care of yourself, through taking care of your energy. The Eight of Wands, I feel like this is something that can happen very quickly, and you might be very surprised. I feel like there's an element of, like, you'll be surprised what you can do with this when you just learn to harness it, to take care of yourself, to take care of it. And with the Queen of Rings, the Queen of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, that really speaks to nurturing, to self-care. And I feel like you are someone who has the capacity to really be caring and nurturing to other people. And it is very important to care and nurture for yourself. And I'm getting a lot of, like, you're learning, you're being encouraged to learn how to care for your energy, how to care for yourself. That includes how you care for your body, and the things that you put into your mind, and the thoughts that you allow yourself to follow and to think. Not saying, not being paranoid per se about, like, the things that you're thinking and, like, oh, is this good for me or not? Like actually noticing if paranoia, for example, is a pattern for you, noticing where, okay, that might be an energy that you want to work through, right? There is the balance between obviously paying attention to the things you think and the way your thoughts shape your life, and also not being, like, hyper vigilant about it, not being hard on yourself, just being that observer. And I do feel like water could be really a peaceful thing for you. Swimming, taking baths, even just taking showers, right? Listening to water, being near the water. But anything that is calming for you, anything that brings you into a state of inner peace, if you don't know what that feels like, it's time to learn. And if you do know what that feels like, it's time to tap into that more deliberately and regularly to get to that state of peace, and to experience that peace and realize that that's actually what you bring to other people. Like, other people experience you as peaceful, and it's time that you learn how to experience that yourself. And I feel like you'll be surprised as to where that leads you. I feel like you don't see that yet, but it's not really for me to tell you, it's for you to learn and experience for yourself, because I feel like there's a lot of different directions in which this can take you, both in your personal life, potentially even also in your career, and your impact on the world at large. Very interesting. So we are going to close out this reading, group 3 with a quote card or two to just wrap things up for you with any additional messages. So group 3, are there any additional messages that we have for group 3 concerning the skill or ability, or just anything else that wants to come out? Yeah, we'll take that. Ooh, a little bent up. We'll take that. And then I have another deck. Group 3. Is there anything else that wants to come through for group 3? Oh my gosh, so many cards. Is there anything else that wants to come through for group 3? Okay. Interesting. I'm actually going to read this one first. So we have this imagery. I feel like you are a gem, you are a jewel, and the message says, the quote says, "One who cannot cast away a treasure at need is in fetters." And this is from The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. One who cannot cast away a treasure at need is in fetters. So there could be something about attachment here, perhaps like if there's any comfort objects or practices or habits that you have that maybe not as healthy as, like, they might be things that help you get through the day, but they might be not be the most helpful use of your energy, right? So like for those of you who do feel like you don't have as much inner peace as you perhaps bring to other people, you might find yourself consistently overwhelmed, and maybe you do have certain habits that you go to, people, habits, things that might not be the healthiest but help you cope. And I feel like what we're doing now is we're starting to move away from the things that you use to cope. We're moving away from coping and we're moving into something more healthy and sustainable. And that's something that it might take time to explore that. It might take time to let go of the old habits that are not helping you anymore, that might have helped you once, but now are becoming more of a drain on your energy. And it might take a little bit of time to develop habits that are more aligned with you and where you're at right now, so you can expand your capacity, you can lean more into peace. And so this is asking you to just be cognizant of that, to notice, okay, what do I know that I do in my current life that is a coping mechanism that isn't necessarily the most positive for me, that doesn't actually bring me the peace that is possible for me, that I'm being, that I'm talking about in this reading, right? And to start to notice where you're too attached maybe to a certain thing that that you might need to move away from, that you might need to start to disconnect from and to connect to something healthier. But again, like, this can be a process. This can be something you take your time at. This can be something that you explore more as you learn more about your own energy, about boundaries, about setting energetic boundaries. Like, again, like, there might be some guides out there who can help you, some teachers who can help you with this. Whether you take a more spiritual route, or you take or you take more of like a traditional like therapeutic route, whatever it is, I feel like there are people you can work with who can help you find more healthy ways of taking care of yourself that will allow you to let go of anything that is maybe having a less than positive effect on you. Because if you think about Lord of the Rings, there's the one ring which can become very addictive to its wearer. It might provide them with certain abilities in the short term, but in the long term, it's leading them down a dark path. It's keeping them attached, for its own ends. And so there might be some things in your life, that sounds really dramatic and dark. I don't want to spur any fear or paranoia. It's really more just being real with ourselves about hey, is this actually making me feel like a good long-term sustained sense of peace and health? Or is this maybe a temporary high that doesn't really sustain me any longer than that? And can I start to move away from that? Can I start to find things that actually provide me a sense of sustained health and peace? And that's what we're really talking about, right? Being real with ourselves about that. I also got the message that you might find that people get very easily attached to you and have trouble letting go of you because your energy feels so good. And if that is the case, again, that's another reason why boundaries are very important. And it is okay to say, hey, I need to have my space, So that's a message for anyone for whom that resonates. Now, and also that there's ways to, again, develop your boundaries so that doesn't happen as consistently, which is interesting. So I almost just said, you'll have to tell me how that goes. So for those of you who do explore this, if you want to come back and comment how you're, how you learn to set those boundaries and how that works for you, that might be beneficial to some people who come across this video at a later time. Interesting. I usually don't say that, but sure, absolutely, go for it. And then last but not least, we have this message with all these hearts here. I feel like that embodies a lot of like the compassion and like love inherent in your energy. And this says, but love was terribly important. She didn't mean romantic love, generalized sort of love. From Autumn by Ali Smith. Yes, love is terribly important. Not romantic love, a generalized sort of love. This actually, connecting this with the other message, one who cannot cast away a treasure at need is in fetters. Maybe for some of you, you find yourself slipping into romantic fantasy to help cope with some of the emotional overwhelm that you feel. You know, like desiring a romantic partner to come save you, to like kind of like be the one that you can like lean on energetically. Whether you're in a relationship or not, I feel like there's maybe a disconnect with reality in that, not because there's anything wrong with that at all, but because in order to actually find that in your real life, you have to step out of fantasy and into the reality of where you're at right now. And you have to be willing to deal with the discomfort of actually inviting that kind of support and love into your real life, which might involve you first learning to do that more on your own, especially if you are not already with someone, but for yourself. And so I feel like it's stepping into more of an empowered role, where you can still be excited about and interested in someone in your life coming in and being there, being a partner for you, and the ways in which you can change and grow a relationship that already exists in a more positive direction. But at the same time, it's not so much like a fantasy of like projecting into the future, oh, this person's going to come save me, this person's going to like change everything, and more starting to do that for yourself, right? And still, like, not because there's anything wrong with having that fantasy or wanting that to happen, but more because you don't need to sit around and wait for that in order to have that right now. And I feel like you're getting to that place where you're ready for that right now, regardless of who's in your life and what the dynamic is. Like, you are realizing the importance of this right now. And also, just in general, love is terribly important. Not romantic love, a generalized sort of love. Whether you resonate with that message that I just said or not, for all of you here, love is important. And I feel like tapping into your definition of love, how you experience love, I feel like first of all, your energy is very loving, and you bring a lot of love for other people, but also finding out what that means for yourself, experiencing more of that for yourself, and experiencing that generalized sort of love that you can have for just life in general, for yourself, for the world, realizing that love is not just something that needs to be squeezed into specific categories and experienced through certain relationships. It's something that can be experienced in a very general, universal sense, as something that you feel and do. And that might be two very different experiences on some level, right? All About Love by Bell Hooks might be important for you in terms of learning more about how to define like love as an action, love as something that we can learn and hone as a skill rather than just a feeling. And then also there's there's meditation, and tapping into that piece also taps you more into like that frequency of love, the thing that people talk about as a feeling, a vibration, right? And again, like tapping into that for yourself, recognizing that you are worthy of that yourself as well, and bringing yourself into a place of peace where you're more open to experience that and realize that it doesn't have to come from a specific relationship or partner, but it can come from you, it can come from the universe, it can come from just being at peace and basking in that for a moment. Lovely. And also, I don't always say this, but Autumn by Ali Smith might be a good book for you to read. You might enjoy it, so you may want to check that out. But with all that being said, that is where we're going to close this reading out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to know how this resonated with you, if you feel like sharing. And if you are interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, and we are both tarot readers. We're certified consulting hypnotists. My mom does human design readings, so you can check all that out on our website in the description or pinned comment. And then, nope, that's it. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi Group 4, if you selected this stone, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a special skill or ability that's being highlighted for you right now that you may be overlooking and perhaps are not aware of why it's important for you right now and how you can use it. And so that is what we were looking into today. So of course I got this card to represent the skill or ability, and then I also will pull some cards to ask why it's coming up, why it's important, what you can do with it, all that. So I will also then close out with a quote card or two from my personal quote cards, and we will leave it at that. So without further ado, let's take a look at your skill or ability. Okay, Group 4, so you have the 3 of Charisma, which is also known as the 3 of Pentacles, and I am actually getting a lot of different things for this group. First, right off the bat, if anyone here is like a musician, or like, is like skilled with any kind of instrument, singing, whatever, that's being highlighted for sure. Just any artistic or creative ability in general is being highlighted here. But I'm also getting the sense of like self-expression and sharing with others and working with others is also important. So this could either be a group where there's lots of different kinds of people with different kinds of skills and they're all being highlighted together coming through, or this is a group where like a lot of different, like I feel like there's a jack of all trades energy. There are people who have a lot of different skills and abilities and have different experiences in different areas, and or has a gift or ability when it comes to sharing those skills, working with other people as well. So some or all of that could resonate with people here. And I am getting the sense that the variety of energy that's coming through not only denotes that there's a lot of different energies and different things that people might resonate here. Like some people might be like, yeah, I am a musician. Some people might be like, yeah, I am an artist, or yeah, you know what, I am really good at working on teams with other people. Or yeah, I really do value like my self-expression and the way that I express myself. I've mastered that. I feel like I'm really good at that, like things like public speaking and things like that. Like I feel like there could be people who individually are like, yeah, that's my skill, or it's like all of those things kind of resonate, or a lot of those things resonate, or it's also just highlighting like for a lot of people here, you do have you're very skilled in a lot of different areas. You have a lot of talents, you have a lot of things that you practice at or that you work at or that you're interested in. And in fact, the skill that's highlighted for some people is in fact your interest in a lot of different areas and a lot of different topics and different things. Very interesting, very very fun. Getting a bit of a fun energy here as well. So I feel like for a lot of you, these are skills that you're good at but are also fun for you. And for some of you, it's even also your ability to have fun doing all these kinds of things. Really interesting. And since I'm not honing in on just like one thing in specific necessarily, I'm just going to get right into why is this important for you right now. So why is this important? Okay, yeah. We have the Knight of Cups and love. Oh, yeah, okay. This is definitely about your passions. This is about passions, things that you're passionate about, tapping into those things that you're passionate about, sharing those things that you're passionate about, expressing those things that you're passionate about, and the love that you have for these things, the love that you have. I feel like there's a lot coming through. Hold on. Let me just also ask, what can you do with this right now? And actually, I'm going to ask if there's any advice that I can bring through for you in terms of, yeah, is there any advice for you? Because I feel like this group, it's not like really what you can do with it. I feel like there's a lot of different things, and some of you already know what you can do with it. It's just like a matter of doing it. So yeah, we're gonna instead ask for advice, any additional advice. Okay. And then one more card. Any additional advice? Okay, that's 2 more cards, but we'll keep them together. Okay. Ooh. 10 of... Wow, okay. All right, yeah, actually, I need to move these cards up. Sorry. My framing got all, like, out of whack from an issue I had earlier. 10 of cups on the bottom of the deck, by the way. And anyway, my framing got all out of whack, and I haven't been able to get it back quite so easily. Okay. Okay, yeah, so this is all about sharing what you love, expressing yourself, sharing your passions, following your your passion, what you love to do, anything especially creative, but that could take so many different forms with so many different people. Whatever lights you up, whatever you love, that is what you are meant to be doing. You're meant to follow those passions. You're meant to follow that love. And the advice for you is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just return right for a second to the Knight of Cups and love. You're supposed to open your heart. You're supposed to pour your heart out for people. You're supposed to put your heart out there. For some of you, your romantic life could be tied up in this, but I feel like it's really about like self-expression, like for the sake of it, for putting your heart on the paper, for putting your heart out there in the world, and sharing that, and that is your true north. That is what you're meant. That's your guidance system. Your love is your guidance system. The things that you love to do is your guidance system. Your passions are your guidance system. And that's what you're meant to be following. With your advice for how to do that, like it's the Wheel of Fortune, the destined. It's your destiny. It's like just trusting that you have this love inside of you because you're meant to follow it. You're meant to use it. You're meant to do something with it. Trusting in that destiny, trusting in fate, trusting in that being your path, and then just doing it. And also trusting that like the things that are meant to find you along the way to help you on your path, the people, and in fact, things like your romantic life, your career, all of those other things are actually, I think, linked into this, tied into this. And the more that you connect with your heart, the more that you connect with this love, the better those things get for you. Your love life improves, your career improves, all of those things improve as you are aligned with your path. And I feel like a lot of you are either already aligned and you might just like not be aware that like you might just need this confirmation. You might be just like, like totally, you're totally right. Maybe you're just beginning the journey and so you just need extra confirmation. Others of you might not be so aware of this. You might not be as tapped into what you love right now. And some of you might not even honestly know at all that you have some kind of passion. I feel like a lot of you do. Because you already I feel like you're already involved in a lot of different things and there's and you have a lot of passion in you and you know this already. But for some of you, I feel like it's not fully directed yet, or you're not as confident in expressing it. You're not as confident in doing something with that. And that is something that I also feel like your advice is just keep at it one step at a time, and that will change. It will get easier. And the more that you slot into your path, the more that you slot into these things that you're passionate about and you love, and you just like work at them and allow them to flow, the easier it will become, the clearer your path will become. But you have to trust that first, and you just have to do it. It might not always be easy. It might be hard to start doing that. It might be difficult to tap into it at first, or just feel like it is because it's gonna feel foreign to you. But once you do, it will get easier and easier, because I feel like it's similar to group 1 in that even if you haven't actually tapped fully into this yet, like you haven't fully started sharing your passions and doing more with them, it's like the ability is innate within you. It is innate. It's something that you might have to learn and develop a little bit more as a skill, but yet at the same time, I feel like it will come easier to you than you expect it to once you actually start and get more confident with it. You just have to start first and gain that confidence. Because with the 9 of Wands and the 3 of Wands, I'm getting the sense of like it's like exploring your passions and opening up more to sharing them and expressing them it will feel like coming home to a long lost love. Like, that's what I'm getting. Maybe for some of you, literally, it will bring you home to a lover or like someone who's important to you in your life. But I feel like it's just more general. It will get you more in touch with like your connection to the divine, to love itself, through expressing yourself. I feel like it is like there are certain passions you have that are vehicles for this love, and connecting more with them will bring you home, will help you feel more like you'll have this feeling of like reconnecting with someone who you've lost a long time ago. It will bring them back to you, but I feel like that's mostly metaphorical. Doesn't mean it can't be literal for some people, but I feel like it's, if anything, metaphorical for how it will feel to like really let yourself connect and like express yourself finally, and fully embrace these gifts that you have, embrace these interests that you have that you are passionate about. It's just gonna feel like, oh, this feels right. I was missing this. I missed this. And for some of you, you might relate very much to the idea of like having once been passionate about something, having maybe even once just been more in touch with that feeling of passion and love. And some of you remember that and miss it, and have felt disconnected from it, and it's time for you to start deliberately reconnecting with it. And others of you, you might not even remember until you start reconnecting with that feeling, and then you're like, wait a second, oh, I missed this. I forgot I used to care about this. And I feel like there's some people here who very specifically might, like, the universe might arrange a reconnection with, like, you might stumble across something in the next few days, weeks, or months that sparks an old joy in you that you forgot about, and it's something that you were meant to come across, and something that it was meant to reignite that passion, reignite that fire, and get you back into it. Very specific, interesting message. That's for some people here. I would say if that feels good to you, like, set the intention to reconnect with something or connect with something that sparks that life and that passion in you and that love in you. If you don't already know what that is, and then set that aside, forget about it, and just let life take you there naturally. But for those of you who know there are deliberate steps you can take to start reconnecting with that passion, who know that there are certain things that you can do, try, practices you can instate to get you more in touch with that, yes, you're being encouraged to do that. You can start small. You don't have to do everything at once, especially if you're someone who's like a jack of all trades. You have a lot of different interests, or different directions that you feel like you could go in. Pick one and see how far you get with that and go from there. But I feel like for a lot of you, this is about reconnecting with that or taking it to the next level. So if you are someone who's like you're already like creating in secret, or you have a lot of art that you haven't shared, or you have been working on a skill in secret that you really want to start sharing with people. Like, I'm like learning a language, and now you want to go like learn to speak the language with native speakers, but it's like time to put yourself out there, time to take that first step, one step at a time. There's no need to rush. I'm getting the Jordin Sparks song. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. I feel like that's your song. Be patient with it. Yes, take it one step at a time. You don't have to do it all at once, but it will naturally unfold for you as long as you keep going and or start. And with the 10 of Runes here, 10 of Cups, I mean, that's a happy ending if I've ever seen one. A happy ending, a union, if you will, with a loved one, with yourself, with the things that you love, with the love that you can have for life, a reinvigoration of your love for life, if you will. You're renewing your vows almost with someone that you love, with life itself. That's what I'm feeling, like a renewal of vows. And that's why that's important for you right now, because it's time this should be, for most people here, a confirmation that it is time to get back in touch with that love for life again. Get back in touch with any passions you put aside. Get back in touch with the feeling that it brought you. Even if it's a new passion that ignites this within you. Maybe there are some things you left behind, but there's something new that's caught your eye. As long as it's connecting you with something that feels authentic and feels good, and it's pulling you forward and you're feeling drawn to it. Yes, it might take you might have to continue stoking the flames. You might have to instate practices to help you keep that up. It might not always be easy to, the path ahead might not always be clear, but keep going with it. Keep going with it. Follow that love, and it will lead you where you're meant to go. And that's all you need to trust. And yeah, I feel like for a lot of you, this does involve, in one way or another, sharing these passions with other people. Being able to work with others on these things, and or put yourself out there more. So that other people can experience the things that you're passionate about, and the time and effort that you've put into, and the love that you've put into creating these things, honing this skill, whatever it is. I love that. It's a lot of energy here. I feel like you have a lot of energy. You have a lot of creative energy, and it's like time to just start putting it out there more. So let's ask if there are any final messages, closing messages for group 4 here. Okay, that is, I'll take these 3 because we also did get a lot in group 1 and I still took them, but I do have another pile to shuffle up, so I'll just see if there's anything else that wants to come out for group 4. I really do like this energy a lot. So, I feel like this is very exciting. I feel like if you let it be, it will be a very exciting, rewarding, and fulfilling journey to reconnect with these passions. It feels very positive. I do feel like there might be an edge of fear or anxiety over it, over especially putting yourself out there, or maybe even some self-doubt that's gotten in the way of you fully feeling this love and embracing this passion. But I feel like that is being processed out. I feel like you are learning to let that go. And I feel like you will be led to experiences that will help you continue to let that go and help you step more and more into your power, more and more into your creativity, and more into this feeling of love. Very, very lovely. Any last quotes? Okay. This is more than I wanted to get, but we'll take them. Whatever. I always say that I'll take whatever is meant to come out as long as it feels right. Okay, let's see. What messages do we have? Closing messages do we have for group 4? So first we have this card. This kind of like light shining through the darkness. So I definitely feel like, especially if you're sharing anything creative or sharing your voice in some way, you will be a light in the darkness for a lot of people, your work or the things that you say. And this says, in the dark, there is discovery, there is possibility, there is freedom in the dark once someone has illuminated it. This is from Black Sails, and it's said by Captain Flint. Yeah, so there's freedom, possibility, and there's freedom and possibility in the dark. I feel like part of what you do, either intentionally or not, with whatever it is that you're passionate about, is shedding light on certain things that maybe are hard to talk about, whether it's shedding light on some of your inner life that is beneficial for other people to see, that helps shed light on something that is within them as well, or shedding light on being a light for people in dark times as well, like being a source of connection and joy through art, through your speaking, through your energy, that kind of thing. Whatever it is that you are working on, whatever skill that you are sharing and expressing. We then have this quote, which says, "Who judges the judge who judges wrong? The sentence too weak, the sentence too strong, the penance too quick, the penance too long. Who judges the judge who judges wrong?" From Fairest by Gail Carson Levine. This, I feel, is, especially for anyone who's going to be putting their creative works out there, putting themselves out there more, you might face some judgment. You might face some questioning from people. That's just the nature of being seen more. And this is reminding you that at the end of the day, like, perspectives are infinite, and not everyone's judgment should be taken seriously. Not everyone's judgment should be taken on personally. And this might be something that you have to prepare yourself for and develop skills and ways of dealing within yourself so that you can move forward more confidently. But understand that No, like, so I feel like there might be some judgment that, like, yeah, you'll develop a way of, of discerning what judgment actually feels like it could be beneficial to you, necessary, maybe point you in alignment with things that are more in alignment with you, versus what is just harmful or just bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, and if you don't feel like you already have a good meter for that, you will develop it, and you will feel stronger in your own convictions and in your own perception as you learn to, like, kind of slice and dice through other people's perceptions that just, like, maybe at one time kept you from being as expressive, or kept you, even for some people, like, you know, maybe once you did, maybe once you tried to share yourself, and certain judgments you received were discouraging, and you lost out on your love and your passion for the thing because of either things that people were throwing at you or just the general environment in that you were in when you were trying to share yourself. And now that you're reconnecting with that love and that passion, you're coming in back out into the world with more conviction in yourself, with more confidence in yourself, and more discernment and awareness when it comes to the judgments that other people might have, as you step more out into whatever sphere that you're sharing yourself in, you're sharing your stuff in. Some people are just going to be fucking wrong, and you just got to be okay with that. And then we have this card here. I just feel like this is your community that will form, like, around whatever it is that you're creating, and also that people that you'll connect with who have the same energy but different ideas and different ways of expressing it, and, like, connecting more with people who align with you. And this says, Blue remained secretly hopeful that somewhere out there in the world there were other odd people like her. From The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Yeah, and the only way that you find those people is by putting yourself out there, putting your odd self out there, so that those odd people can find you. And this is, I feel like for some of you, you might resonate with, like, having a soul family or having soulmates and people who will connect with you on a deeper level. Put yourself out there. These people will find you. Trust me. And then we have this card here. Please don't apologize for the act of experiencing pain, from Truth of the Divine by Lindsay Ellis. I feel like the most important thing of that, I mean, for some of you, you may have to work through some heartbreak or pain around these passions that you are rediscovering and reconnecting with. And that is a valid and true experience. Like, that might be part of the process, and that is okay. That is normal, and you're being called to process that now, to work with that now. There's nothing wrong with that, though. It might be a bit painful. I was getting this feeling. It might be a bit painful for some of you at first, reconnecting, and or, like, leveling up with your connection with your passions. Like, actually, even for some of you, reconnecting with the feeling of passion might be a little bit painful in some ways, because, again, like, I feel like you maybe shut it down or were missing it for a long time. And so it's like grieving that and then coming back to it. But there's also an unapologeticness that's that you're aligning with as well. Feeling unapologetic for your experiences, for your perspective, for your point of view, because you need that if you're going to be putting it out there in any way, shape, or form. And last but not least, we have this card, which says, you can't know joy unless you've known sorrow. Those who can soar to the highest heights can also plunge to the deepest depths. From N with an E, said by Miss Stacy. You can't know joy unless you've known sorrow. Those who can soar to the highest heights can also plunge to the deepest depths. I'm getting like a creative vibe here very much, because I feel like there are ways in your life where I feel like you have a wide range of either experiences or emotional experiences, or both, that give you a certain amount of wisdom and depth that you are learning to convey and express through your passion, whatever it is, through the skills that you hone, through the... And I think for some of you, you are picking one thing to focus on first, at least, but I feel like you could potentially branch it out in many different areas. And, like, using the example of, like, some kind of artist, like a songwriter or a novelist, there's an extent to which you are creating an emotional experience in someone else. So your ability to engage with emotions on a heightened level helps you connect more deeply with your audience. And so it doesn't mean that you are constantly experiencing those emotions always in your day-to-day life, but you might have familiarity with them, and you can more readily convey that in your work. And this is a reminder that that's an important skill in and of itself. But also, even if you don't have a certain experience, your ability to experience emotional depth and then convey that can connect with people on all different kinds of levels that you might not even have expected, right? But yeah, there's this reminder that your ability to feel, you might be a very empathetic bunch, especially if you're very creative. That is something that will help you. It's not that, like, some people talk about like artists needing to, the suffering artist, right? Artists are always suffering and that's how they create their good art. It's not that at all. All that is helpful for you is a healthy emotional awareness, an ability and a willingness to connect with the emotional depths, the highs and the lows, and to convey those in art, and to also be willing to like heighten them. A lot of times art like takes a real experience and makes it even more heightened in order to provide a more heightened experience for the reader, for the viewer, in a safer environment. Why else do we come to art if not for also like an emotional experience, experiencing those highs and lows? I feel like you provide that for people through sharing whatever it is that you're sharing. I do feel like there are a lot of artists here, and you can do that from a healthy space, especially as someone who may have worked through your own emotions and developed your own emotional awareness, right? You don't need to be an artist who suffers or struggles, but you can create from a place of wisdom that you have gained through your experiences, and you carry that through, even if, because I do feel like for some of you I feel like there was a disconnection from your passions for a bit that might have taken the form of a dark night of the soul, of a depressive episode, of just feeling very lost and low, depending, it'll be different for everyone. And it's realizing that you don't need to live in that space to create good art, which is a misunderstanding that some people might have. But you can still use your wisdom from that time, take elements of your experience, and then use it in your art in a healthy way. Being in a healthy mindset, I feel like, personally for me, I think it's easier to create from a healthy mindset, from when I'm feeling good and healthy. As long as I'm able to, I do feel like a lot of you also, this is a little bit late in the reading, but have the ability to like go back into some of like your darker, like the darker stuff. Like you can go into the depths, but you're very good at coming back up. Like you can go in to get something that you need and come back up like with intention, with purpose, as opposed to like being thrown wildly about in the highs and lows. I feel like you've honed the ability to like dip into that deeper, darker stuff, pull it out for your art, and like continue on your way. And that is a very important skill for what you're doing. That's why you are being called to do what you are being called to do, because it is useful for you in some way. Again, going back to this quote over here, please don't apologize for the act of experiencing pain. I feel like you can take the highs and lows of life and use them both equally in whatever it is that you're creating. Especially like, just in the context of like creating a story, right? You can understand the highs and the lows of the story. You can bring them both together, weave them both together, and look at them with an objective eye. You might have as much appreciation and love for a tragic story as you do for an uplifting one. You can find the value in all those experiences and bring them together into something beautiful, which is really cool. And that's going to be very literal for some people, and it might be a little bit more like abstract for others, depending on what it is that you're actually interested in, what it is that you're doing, what kind of passion and love you are connecting with and putting out there into the world. But in every case, it is very cool. I can feel it. And it's going to bring a lot of joy and love to the world in many different kinds of ways. So with that being said, that's where we're going to end this reading. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this resonated with you. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear in the comments how this resonated, and if you want to share it, please feel free to do so. That would be amazing. Also, if you are interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, so we also offer hypnosis and human design services as well, and those will be in the link in the description on our website. So check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye.